Senator Maggie Hassan just delivered one of the most searing, personal, and devastating dismantlings of a nominee we've seen all year. This wasn't political. This was about truth, science, and competence. And when RFK Jr. couldn't answer the most basic Medicare and Medicaid questions, Hassan exposed exactly why this nomination is in serious trouble. Let's break down what really happened in that hearing.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Sanders. Good morning, Mr. Kennedy. Look, I want to just take a moment because like a few of us on this dais, I sit on finance as well as help. And one of the things that was most disturbing to me about yesterday's hearing was the suggestion from some of my friends on the other side of the dais that our intense questioning and concerns about Mr. Kennedy were driven by partisanship. I have voted for 5 of President Trump's nominees to date in the last couple of weeks. One of them, the new Secretary of Transportation, was on the scene last night at DCA. Like all of us, I take really seriously our obligation for advice and consent. And I am concerned, as Senator Mullen expressed his concern, about the need for science to help us move forward on critical issues. Now, some of you are new to this committee and new to the Senate, so you may not know that I am the proud mother of a 36-year-old young man with severe cerebral palsy. And a day does not go by when I don't think about what did I do when I was pregnant with him that might have caused the hydrocephalus that has so impacted his life. So please do not suggest that anybody in this body of either political party doesn't want to know what the cause of autism is. Do you know how many friends I have with children who have autism? The problem with this witness's response on the autism cause and the relationship to vaccines is because he's relitigating and churning settled science so we can't go forward and find out what the cause of autism is and treat these kids and help these families. Mr. Kennedy, that first autism study rocked my world. And like every mother, I worried about whether, in fact, the vaccine had done something to my son. And you know what? It was a tiny study of about 12 kids, and over time, the scientific community studied and found that it was wrong. And the journal retracted the study because sometimes science is wrong. We make progress. We build on the work, and we become more successful. And when you continue to sow doubt about settled science, it makes it impossible for us to move forward. So that's what the problem is here. It's the relitigating and rehashing and continuing to sow doubt so we can't move forward, and it freezes us in place. Now let me move on to my other concerns from yesterday's hearing. During yesterday's hearing, you really showed a lack of knowledge about Medicare and Medicaid. So what is Medicare Part A?
Medicare Part A pays mainly for primary care or physicians, and then Medicare.
No, so it is about, Medicare Part A is seniors coverage for inpatient hospital care. What's Medicare Part B?
For physicians and doctors. Medicare Part D
that is coverage for outpatient care and home health. So what is Medicare Part C?
Medicare Part C is a program where it's the full menu of all the services, A, B, C, and D for Medicare.
It is Medicare Advantage, which it's the private insurance option for seniors on Medicare. So, Mr. Kennedy, you want us to confirm you to be in charge of Medicare, but it appears that you don't know the basics of this program. So let's turn
I
to
just explained the
Medicaid.
basics.
No, I had to correct you on several things.
Oh, you just
Let's turn
added
to
information,
Medicaid. Yesterday,
Senator. You didn't
said
correct me. I didn't get it wrong.
Mr. Kennedy, my time is limited, and I hope the chair will give me
Is
a
this a
couple of more
question,
minutes.
Senator?
Yes, Medicaid.
All right, because you're
Let's
giving me
turn
very
to
little time
Medicaid.
to answer one.
Let's turn to Medicaid. Medicaid, you said yesterday to Senator Cassidy, Medicaid is fully paid by the federal government, and it's not fee for service. That statement is false. Do you now understand that that statement is false, yes or no?
That Medicaid is paid for by the federal government? I believe that.
You said it is fully paid for. Medicaid, in fact, sir, is
no,
a federal-state partnership.
The state has a partnership.
Right, so you were wrong yesterday, so you're acknowledging that that statement was false, right?
I misstated something.
All right, good. So yesterday, when you were questioned about Medicaid, you repeatedly dodged questions by saying you want to make it better. Republicans are circulating a proposal that would end Medicaid expansion in some states, including in New Hampshire. So I will submit this for the record, but it is important to me to understand whether you believe that taking Medicaid away from 60,000 people in New Hampshire would make Medicaid better. And would it make New Hampshire healthy again? I'll submit that for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
What we just witnessed from Senator Maggie Hassan is the kind of testimony and moral clarity that cuts through the noise of a highly politicized hearing and reminds everyone why competence, truth, and lived experience matter when someone is being considered for one of the most powerful healthcare positions in the country. This wasn't grandstanding. This wasn't partisan posturing. This was a mother, a policymaker, and a legislator responsible for the well-being of millions saying, enough. We cannot afford leadership that doesn't understand the basics. And the moment she brought up her son, this wasn't political theater. It was a window into the emotional and psychological reality facing countless families across America who struggle with questions they may never get answers to. When she said there isn't a day that goes by without wondering what caused her son's condition, that resonated deeply because millions of parents walk around with that same weight. She wasn't speaking as a senator in that moment, she was speaking as a parent, as someone who has lived through the confusion, the fear, the guilt, and the endless search for clarity. That is precisely why she reacted so strongly to RFK Jr.'s attempts to relitigate long-settled scientific debates about vaccines and autism. These aren't abstract talking points or culture war flashpoints. They are issues that affect real people, real families, and real public health outcomes. And Hassan makes an essential point. When someone keeps dragging society backward into disproven theories, it prevents the scientific community from focusing on the real, urgent work of uncovering actual causes and developing real solutions. It freezes progress. It traps families in a loop of fear instead of allowing them to move forward. Then we shift to the Medicare and Medicaid portion of the hearing, and it becomes clear why her concerns go far beyond the vaccine misinformation issue. RFK Jr. demonstrated not just gaps, but fundamental misunderstandings of the programs he is asking to oversee. These aren't minor technicalities, they are baseline components of U.S. healthcare infrastructure. Medicare Part A, Part B, Part C, every senator on that committee knows that if you cannot articulate these basics, voters are right to question whether you have the competence to run the system. This is not an academic exercise. These programs determine whether a senior gets hospital care, whether they can see a doctor, whether someone with chronic illness can stay in their home instead of a facility. A nominee for this position should be fluent in these distinctions, not fumbling through them in real time. And when Hassan moves to Medicaid, she exposes another critical flaw. Medicaid is a joint federal-state program. Anyone working in healthcare policy knows that. And yet RFK Jr. incorrectly claimed it was fully federally funded. That's not just a factual error. It signals a lack of understanding of how funding formulas, eligibility, and state waivers function. And in states where Medicaid expansion is actively under threat, including Hassan's home state of New Hampshire, those misunderstandings could have real consequences. 60,000 people losing health coverage, communities losing lifelines, hospitals losing financial stability, families losing access to care. Hassan wasn't just questioning him, she was making a record, one that sends a clear message to the country: competence is not optional. Science literacy is not optional. Understanding the programs you're supposed to administer is not optional. And when someone seeks enormous responsibility without demonstrating the foundational knowledge required for the job, senators have not only the right, but the obligation to push back hard. This is what oversight looks like: not hostility, not partisanship, but accountability in service of the public good. And if hearings like this prove anything, it's that misinformation and lack of preparation don't just create embarrassing moments, they create real-world harm for millions who are depending on these programs to survive. If you're watching this and you believe in competence, science, and truth shaping public policy, not conspiracy, confusion, and guesswork, then this is your moment to stay engaged. Make sure you're subscribed to Left Lens. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you keep pushing for leaders who actually know what they're talking about and care enough to get it right, because the stakes are too high for anything less.